Hey witches, so I'm going to do the video now on invocation. I already did evocation, so this is completely different. The process will be similar, but the results are extremely different. So the word invoke means to call loosely. It translates to voice and to call. So it's a form of partial possession, basically. You're doing voluntary possession by a deity. So I'm not going to talk about invoking demons or invoking ghosts or spirits. I'm only talking about invoking gods and goddesses. So why would you want to do it? Why? Well, it's important to do when you have a working relationship with a deity. It's important to do it at least once, because you take on the energy of that deity. You should only do it with deities you work with on a regular basis and have an intimate relationship with. And the purpose of an invocation is to add a deity's power to your own for a purpose. So it might just be that you want to add that magic to your magic, or you want to add their traits to your traits. But basically, you want to have a reason for doing it. You can also do it for spell work, just bonding with your deity, receiving guidance or divine messages, or you might just want to be enveloped in that deity's energy for a while. Each time you bring in a deity, each time you invoke a deity, you're bringing in a little piece of their energy into yourself permanently. So tread lightly. Don't do this every day. Even if you and your deity are BFFs, don't do it every single day, because it is partial possession and you're changing your energy. You need to cast a circle dedicated to that deity to do this. You want to make sure that you do that because it's important that you're protected during this, because it is partial possession. And if you're working with a known deity inside a circle that has been consecrated for them, it's pretty safe. Like I said, just do it sparingly. Don't do it every day. So the process of invoking a deity. So the process is very similar to evoking. You're going to be sitting in your circle. You're going to have items that represent that deity there with you. Some deities have special circles that you want to cast prior to invoking them. So you want to just do some research on your deity, because it may be that you need to add some extra candles, or do something special to the water, or do something special like walking around it with a bell, or just different things. So make sure that you've done your research first. Find an invocation that's tried and true. Those are always best. You can write your own, but using those tried and true using those tried and true invocations are better than using something that you wrote yourself, okay? And also, invoking a deity is useful for self-healing, because you're bringing in that extra burst of energy and that extra punch of power, so it can help with self-healing too. That's kind of off topic, but I wanted to throw that in there. I forgot to say it at the beginning. So back to the process. Drawing down the moon is an example of an invocation too. You're drawing down the moon, wanting the goddess of the moon, which I consider it to be Selene. Some people do not. I do. But you bring her into you, and then she's going to speak through you, or you're going to receive some kind of divine message from her while you're drawing down the moon. But then part of that energy stays with you. So make sure that you have a good rapport with the deity, and then back to the process. So you've got your circle, you've got your items, you've got your invocation. You want to make sure that you've made it inviting, just like I told you in the video for evocation. It's like you're having a good friend come over to visit. It's the same thing. You want to make it inviting. You want to light their favorite incense. Have some red wine. Most deities like red wine. Some prefer mead. Make sure you've done your research. Like I said, you need to know what they want, what they like. Have their crystals that correspond. Have some sort of sigil there. You could even bring in your statuary if you need to, or do it at the deity's altar. Sorry guys, there's a loud-ass car going by. But make sure that you've got everything you can think of that relates to your deity, because the more connections that are there, the more likely you are to become partially possessed, which that's your goal if you're doing this. This is not something just to play around with and do it for no reason, okay? It is completely different than evoking a deity for spell work. You're bringing them in. Like I said, it's voluntary partial possession. And it's part of it's permanent. It doesn't, all the energy that you invoke doesn't leave you. Part of it stays, which is why you want to do it, to have that energy. So anyway, you've got everything. You've got your invocation. You're going to turn off the lights, turn off electronic devices. You should only have candlelight for this and nothing else. No music playing, nothing else. Start going into that meditative state. You can do the breathing in fours, out for four, out for four, hold for four. Let me start over. In for four, hold for four, out for four. And do that over and over and over and over and over. Get yourself into that meditative state, into that magical headspace, and then begin saying your invocation. You're going to want to say it with power, with authority. Mean it. Put your heart in it. Don't just read it, blah, 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 blah. I invoke thee, blah, 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 blah. No, you need to read it with power. Read it with your heart. Put all of your heart into it. That's why a lot of times when I'm invoking Hecate, my voice will break during the invocation, because I'm putting all of my heart into it. Because I can already start feel the energy starting to shift, like halfway through, and I can just tell something starting to happen. And you'll be able to pick up on the energy easier than an evocation, because the energy is coming directly into you. Now, if nothing happens, you just need to try again, because it's just like drawing down the moon. That the first time I drew down the moon, nothing happened. Nothing happened at all. I just thought, okay, well, that was fun to stare at the moon and say the charge of the goddess. And then I tried again, tried a few more times, and then eventually it worked. But it took a while. So it's not going to always work the first time. It probably won't work the first time. You need to keep trying, though. Don't give up. So once you have invoked your deity, do whatever resonates with you while you're partially possessed. Whatever your purpose was for doing the invocation, now you're possessed. What are you going to do with that? And then to end it, you need to let the deity know that it's over and that you have finished the invocation. Release them and then close your circle. Don't leave the circle open. And don't just say the invocation is over and then walk out of the room, because it's not over. You haven't officially ended it. You need to let them know that you release them. Say, I release you. Hecate, I release you. I thank and release you. You do want to thank them, because they're giving their time to come and spend that time with you, when there are a lot of other things they need to do and a lot of other people that are trying to do the same thing probably at the same time. So I think that's about all. Just make sure you close those portals at the end. You don't want to leave those open, and you don't want to remain possessed. You don't want to hold on to that energy the entire time for the rest of your life. Plus, it's rude to do that to a deity. You want to make sure you release them and thank them. But that's all I have about that one, which is very similar to evocation, but the desired results completely different. So don't get them mixed up, and don't use the words interchangeably. People will do that all the time. It drives me crazy, because I'm like, do you not realize that invoking a deity is becoming possessed by that deity. Evoking a deity is bringing about their energy. They're completely different. So don't use them interchangeably. You'll sound silly. But that's all I have. And like, subscribe, and share. And blessed be. Bye.